Hi, and welcome back to 80K Talks. Today we're digging into what it means to eat local Adirondack style, not just in summer at the farm stands, but really all year round. You know, we just had an episode with our listener mailbag. I hope people got to listen to that. And were really interesting questions we answered. If you have any questions from this episode, we just want to remind you to please send them our way and keep those questions coming.
Why don't you give them the email address for the questions, Jane?
Okay, Steve, if you want me to do that, I can. It's info@adktaste.com.
Many of our listeners asked about local food in their emails to us, and they want to know how that food gets from the farm to their forks. So we called in the experts.
Yeah, we're really excited today to be joined by Bella Cecino, who is Adirondack Harvest program leader. Adirondack Harvest, which Bella's going to tell us a lot more about, is actually a program of Cornell Cooperative Extension of Essex County. And they connect people, farms, and forests across the Adirondack region through education, events, and storytelling, making local food easier to find, buy, and really celebrate year-round while strengthening the region's vibrant agriculture and forest communities. I am a frequent visitor to Adirondack Harvest's website. There's some great tools that Bella's going to talk to us about to help find local farmers markets and find out what's going on, all things agricultural in the Adirondacks. And in fact, we were introduced to Bella by Dan Rivera from Triple Green Jade Farm, who was on our podcast recently. And he gave us a taste of what farm life looks like in the winter from the farmer's perspective. And Adirondack Harvest makes sure that farms like his and his wife Kimmy's can thrive. So listener, you might want to go back and listen to episode 27 with Dan. But without further ado, Isabella, welcome to 80K Talks.
Thank you for having me. It's so great to be here.
Well, we're so excited. As I mentioned, you know, I'm a big fan of Adirondack Harvest. It's been, since I moved up here full-time, essential for helping me find all the great local producers we have here in the North Country. But for our listeners who might not have heard of Adirondack Harvest before, can you just talk a little bit about your organization's mission and what it does in more detail?
Yeah, absolutely. So Adirondack Harvest is one of the programs of CCE Essex County. CCE Essex is a 501c3 educational institution, so everything that we do has to come from a standpoint of education. Whether that's education for farmers, producers, or consumers, everything we do is based around that. And what better way to do it than from the dirt up in grassroots organizing?
How did it begin? How long has the organization been in place?
So I'm going to go into a little bit of history here just because the Adirondack Harvest history is so long and it started from grassroots organizing. So it actually grew out of the Adirondack Farmland Protection Plan, which was created in 1996. It passed on the county level and then people came together and they were like, we want to do something about protecting the actual farmland itself. How do we do that? We help farmers make their operations more viable. We talk to them. We ask them what they need from us. And the original start to Adirondack Harvest was in 2001. So again, a group of people came together about the loss of the agricultural land in the Adirondacks, and thus born was Adirondack Harvest. Originally, it was not a program of CCE Essex. We'll get to that in a bit. There were board members and committees created for Adirondack Harvest. Tom Both was a supervisor in the town of Keene at the time, and he's really the father of Adirondack Harvest. He kind of steered the program in the direction that it took, and I'm so glad that he was able to do that, or else the program would not be here today. It really comes down to the grassroots organizing and the people involved and just the success that they wanted to see for the farmers locally on this grassroots level.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So the original vision was actually to have the farmers run the program, and CC wasn't originally going to be the ones running it. It was kind of designed to have the basis that the farmers are leading this program because it's them who needs the help. They were supposed to be starting a 501c3. It actually fell to CCE Essex County because they already had the resources to run the program with the education background. There wasn't a way to run it as an indie organization without like the fundraising aspect and the grant writing. So that's why CCE Essex took it on. That being said, Lori Davis, who still works at CCE Essex County, she was hired in May 2006 as the coordinator of the program. And it functioned as a still independent organization with their own board of directors, their own decision making, their own annual meetings. And then in 2021, that's when it was integrated into CCE Essex.
Well, that makes sense. That's a great history. Thank you for that. But also, when you think about it, farmers got a farm. So it's probably great to have CCE in there helping with the management.
Absolutely.
One thing I think it's worth mentioning, and this was something that we learned about when we first were introduced to Dan Rivera, Essex County is really the breadbasket of the Adirondacks. That's where it's not just a happy coincidence that it's, your organization is located in Essex County, because that's really where farming is. Dan told us that when he and Kimmy moved up here after living in New York City, in Europe, and with the intention of farming, they were originally located in Adirondack Lake, but the real farming area is in the beautiful Champlain Valley, which is in Essex County. So it's just not a coincidence. I just want to mention that because Essex County, for those that aren't familiar with it, it's not, the most traveled part of the Adirondacks, but it's really one of the most beautiful areas. Super scenic, right on Lake Champlain, but rolling hills, not the big towering high peaks of, the high peaks region of the Adirondacks, but it's a really beautiful, beautiful part of the park. Just a question about sort of geography as well. This past summer brought some severe drought conditions in the Adirondacks, especially in the eastern Adirondacks. Did that had to have a big effect on local farms and yields?
Absolutely, it did. I mean, climate change is a very real thing, and it's affecting our farmers, and it has been for a while, especially this past summer. I mean, drought has been really severe. Most of the farms, at least in the Adirondack region, are going to be livestock farms. A lot of them are dairy farms, and they have to be able to feed the animals. They rely on grazing season, which is from May until October. Essentially, they're feeding their animals for free. Winter is more expensive because they have to feed with hay, and unless they're growing their own, they have to buy it. Summertime is meant to put weight on the animals. And in the Adirondacks, we have a lot of cool temperature grasses that are still dormant during the summertime. So when it's really hot out, like this past summer, all the grasses are dry. It's unedible for the animals, and they have to then buy more hay in the summertime when they were relying on these grasses over the summer. Usually we have pretty heavy rains. So our irrigation systems, they're not advanced or complex. They're only there kind of when we need them. Out west, it's very dry. So they have a lot more complex irrigation systems because they rely on it so heavily. Out here, we rely a lot on house wells, and we might not have robust irrigation systems already in place. A lot of people will pump out of the river. It's allowed in some cases. Please check with your counties before doing so. Most of the rivers are so unbelievably dry. So you can't count on the river water either. It's a huge investment to put in a complex irrigation system like that. And there's going to be a paradigm shift in the response to what's going on with the climate. Big takeaway is that people need to prepare differently and approach climate resiliency differently. We're seeing new weather patterns. We're seeing things that are affecting farms. And irrigation is not something to take a chance on, especially if you're growing produce, or if you're even just wanting to water your animals and the grasses that they eat. It should be built into farm plans as business owners. It's good business practice to do so, especially now with climate change.
Yeah, it was like a tale of two cities this summer in the Adirondacks. We had so much rain in June, record levels of rain, and then it was so dry in the fall. I don't know if it's still in effect, but I mean, there was a burn ban for several months here in the Adirondacks. So it's great that Adirondack Harvest can be a resource to help farmers sort of navigate and think through what you were saying, their plans for adapting to change in the climate.
And just to clarify that point, Adirondack Harvest is not the point program on this. It is coming from the agriculture side of CCE Essex. There's CCEs in every single county of New York State. They pretty much all have agriculture-related personnel on staff. So if farms are in a different county than Essex, you can reach out to us. We're happy to help you. As Adirondack Harvest covers 12 counties of the Adirondack Park, but I highly suggest you reach out to each of your CCEs as well.
Awesome. Thanks for that clarification. Let's shift gears a little bit. Many people think of farms and farmer markets as a summer thing, but I've been very pleasantly surprised through your website to find sort of indoor and winter markets available during the cold weather. What's available right now in the region?
Yeah, so you can actually visit our website. If you go to adirondackharvest.com/browse, you'll be able to search through our members that have seasonal offerings. But then if you go to adirondackharvest.com/markets, you'll be able to find all the regional markets, and you can actually sort by winter time season. There's actually an interactive map that kind of shows you throughout each city, town, township, hamlet of the Adirondack Park and where the actual farmers markets are. So because we cover all 12 counties, I mean, we have at least one farmers market in every county. If you're willing to drive for it, then I highly suggest it. Old Forge has a really wonderful farmers market. It's quite quaint, but it's really nice to be able to get the local food right there in the summertime. New this year, Keene actually has a winter market, and to shout them out just because they are one of our members, it's adirondackfarmersmarket.com/Keene-winter-market.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah. I suggest going to their Facebook page. They'll have updates on there as well. They're just not listed on our website quite yet, and I'm hoping to get them on there soon. But yes, our website is pretty easy to navigate. The geographic feature is really nice. It's just so you can see which is closest to you on there.
That's great. One thing I love too is some different farms, probably can't mention all of them, will have their own farm stand or farm market. And a lot of them are self-service. Like I was just in Jay at the Sugar House Creamery. You just go in, it's kind of on the honor system. When my friends from New York come up, they're always freaked out when we go to the honor system at our local Tomato Tom, farm stand where you just leave the cash. They're like, what? People don't take the money? But there are a lot of really creative ways, I think, for anyone to get access to, straight from the farm, whether it's fruits and vegetables in the summer or great cheese and dairy products. There's really so much up here. It's really wonderful.
I'd also just like to say that even on the browse feature on our website, you can sort by which kind of product that you want.
Right.
For example, with Sugar House Creamery in Jay, you can actually search cheese on our site in the sorting feature, and then it'll come up.
That's great.
We try to make it as easy as possible for our visitors to the site to navigate to the exact place that they want.
What impact do you think these markets and these stores have on local economies and community connections?
Yeah, I mean, we have really strong CSA cultures. So, I mean, you're giving your money straight to the farms, to the local people, and keeping the money in the local region. A lot of the time, it's the only option in some of these really small towns because we live in food deserts in the Adirondack Park, it's unfortunate, but it's a reality of the way that we're living. I can say that, as long as consumers are trying to make those purchasing decisions that keep the money in the local region by supporting local farms and local markets, that's probably one of the best things that they can do. Just outside of purchasing food, buying in bulk straight from the farms is one of the best things that you can do in the wintertime to help them move their stock. You can keep half a cow in your freezer. You can buy storage vegetables, beets, onions, carrots. It's a good source of revenue for the farmers to bring that in. Additionally, finding places to shop locally. I can just rattle off a bunch, but
sure.
The co-ops that are in Potsdam, Plattsburgh, Ticonderoga, they all support the local economy. They keep jobs in the region, which is the most important thing, but it also keeps the money local. Instead of shopping at a Hannaford's or Price Chopper where they're having to send the money over to corporate, which takes it out of our region, it keeps all the money right here in our economy. Even institutional programs, getting farmers into local schools and hospitals is one of the best things that we can be doing, and Adirondack Harvest supports that. Essex Food Hub supports that. I mean, we also give them year-round markets, and Essex Food Hub is currently creating new markets for farmers as well. It's a really important thing to keep everything as local as possible. And it might get expensive, but you have to kind of look at it as an investment because that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can keep going on this topic if you want.
No, that's great. But I just also think, one thing that I've really grown to appreciate about the Adirondacks now that I live here full time is people really want to support each other. I mean, buying local is super important when it comes to food products, as you mentioned. And we had the chef from the Deer's Head Inn in Elizabethtown on earlier in the year, and he talked a lot about farm to table and how they freeze stuff, they can stuff, they so that they can always have local products on the menu all year round. So that's great.
They're one of our members as well. It's been really great to work with them. I'll be visiting them actually this Friday.
Oh, so. Lucky you. What a good job you have.
Yeah.
Something that you mentioned earlier in reference to the storage vegetables, and you can buy potatoes at a supermarket, but those supermarket potatoes have been, grown with the intention of being stored for a year and a half. Whereas paying a little bit extra for a potato or cabbage or carrots from a local farmer, even though it's later in the season or off season, it's still going to be a lot fresher than what you're going to see at the stores.
It's an investment in your health, really, is what it is.
Exactly.
Definitely. Bella, you've given us some examples already about how Adirondack Harvest and CCE Essex helps to connect farmers to restaurants, schools, hospitals. Can you share an example of a partnership that sort of really stands out for you?
I have 3 that come to mind.
Oh, wow. Great.
A very early success story was Tucker Farms and Gabriel's, and they're still around today. They're a big part of Adirondack Harvest, and we help them connect to local restaurants. They were raising seed stock potatoes at the time, and we were able to market them locally and get them into the local restaurants in the area. A big part of what we do for the program is help them establish themselves online for an online presence. It's not any slight to the farmers. Digital marketing is a whole beast in itself. It's a whole other job, and some of them just don't have time for it. And that's where the program comes into play because of the digital age. We help them with one-on-one consultations, and we get them listed online, even through WordPress or other CRMs like that. We give them visibility and the platform to be able to send out information to customers about their products. It's a website presence so people know where to buy their food, just like you were saying, Jane, earlier with our browse and farmers market features on the site. We also do like a printed map of like where and which members actually produce which foods and where they're going to be. And we do that yearly. A lot of today's age, people have their own websites already. So what I do is just help them to make it better. I help them with their social media presence. I help them list their products online. Yeah, we're going to be kind of doing a restructuring coming soon. And we're going to offer a lot more one-on-one consultations just because that's what the members are wanting. That's what they need. And I'm happy to do so with my background in marketing. We also want to focus more on connecting schools to the wholesale database and other institutions like that. Just doing photo and video for members. It's about agriculture education. We have the Farm to School program. We have Pop Club, which is a summertime club for kids to connect with local producers at farmers markets. And it's a really great program. We just released a blog on the site about this past summer's Pop Club for people that are interested. Going back to Tucker Farms and Gabriel's, they were kind of like our first go at all of this and helping them market themselves locally and to get into restaurants. I mean, the story is 25 years old at this point with the creation of Adirondack Harvest in 2001. Granted, being located in Gabriel's, I don't think it happened in 2001, probably around 2005, 2006 is like when we started adding other counties to the program. A little bit more recently is Lily Valley Farm, and we helped connect them to our wholesale database so they could start getting into schools and institutions and programs that that CCE Essex has like Farm to School and Pop Club and like all of these other things helps institutions realize, oh, we should be offering local food to support the local economy here. I don't know why we haven't done this sooner. And the last one is the Adirondack Medical Center in Saranac Lake. They are listed for our database on the wholesale, and they're getting local food to their cafe and to their patients. It's really great just because the local food that's grown here is going to be a lot more nutritionally sound than any processed food that they can buy from a wholesale distributor that is like nationally ranked. Local food is just making that much more of a difference for their patients.
That's amazing. It's so good on so many fronts. It's helping people be healthier. It's helping local economies be healthier. It's helping kids be well fed so they can learn better. It's really just a kind of a virtuous circle. That's wonderful. Are there any new initiatives or programs that Adirondack Harvest is developing for 2026?
Yeah, so we're going to be really focusing on the grassroots organizing. I'm going to try to be out in the public as much as possible and go to events and table and just try to get Adirondack Harvest, the concept, just out to consumers. That way they know that they can rely on us for all this information. I mean, we're the most comprehensive list that's listed for the North Country. We have the biggest wholesale database too for direct to sale farmers. And something really important to me is making sure that restaurants are buying local food and they're supporting the local economy. So really just growing our membership basis just for restaurants and establishments. We have a lot of farms on there already, and I love supporting them, and I want to see them thrive as much as possible. For the farmers market portion of that, we actually update our list every year, which is not like we actually are on the phone with them like in the beginning of the year before market season even happens, asking where the markets are going to be, if there's any new market initiatives, who's going to be running it, what phone number can people call, what website can they go to find the list of members who are going to be at the farmers market. You won't find that anywhere else. I mean, we do also have the local buying guide for the summertime as well. So you can see like which restaurants and establishments are going to be buying local and supporting local. You can see which farmers markets are going to be having which members of ours are there. That way people can just go and shop and be as local as possible. So for new program development, we're kind of in a process of strategic planning. That means that we're taking a close look at the program, talking to members directly. I was just on the phone with Dan Rivera the other day from Triple Green Jade Farm and talking to him about his membership and what he wants to see for the 2026 season. We wouldn't have become a thing if not for the grassroots organizing and if anyone wasn't doing any work for the local food network. It was falling onto farmers to be doing this, and to advocate for yourself is hard enough as it is as a farmer. There's a lot of enthusiasm about local food because it's been driven by farmers themselves because it's having to fall on them. Programs like the Adirondack Food System Network by Joseph Stefani, the Adirondack Frontier, they have a grant funding process for farmers for agritourism that I'd like my members to explore into. We're doing one-on-one consultations, like I mentioned before. We've partnered with Roost on agritourism efforts with the Adirondack Cuisine Trails, which are they're state-led, state-mandated trails. So we have to report like any new farms that are on existing trail to add them. And Roost is the one that's hosting it on their platform. It's actually linked through our website. So you can definitely find that there. There's 6 of them already.
Roost is a great resource too. Listeners, it stands for Regional Office for Sustainable Tourism. They do a really great job, keeping all things local. So it's awesome. Sorry, continue though. Yeah, Bella.
Absolutely. So if you're curious about a cuisine trail and what that means, you can go to our website at adirondackharvest.com/adirondack-cuisine-trails. Again, a mouthful, but I promise it's worth it. It's really great for your next road trip if you're wanting to go discover things about food and where it's coming from. We're also planning on an international food trail, which connects Canada, Vermont, and New York State, especially the Adirondack region, because we're so close to Ontario and Quebec. There's been like even a 10-month continual drop in Canadian business and tourism, alone in the North Country. They're an important resource for the region, and trying to reinvigorate the international cuisine trail can mean that people from Canada are going to start coming back to New York State and into the North Country. It's super important for the tourist experience to know where local food comes from. It gets them to the farm stands. It gets them to the farmers markets. It gets them to the local establishments that support the local food movement and the grocery stores that do the same. It's a big collaborative effort. I mean, it's the Vermont Fresh Network and just like each respective food network agencies in Quebec and Ontario. The goal ultimately, same with Adirondack Harvest, is to educate people on the farms, to have an intentional experience with local food. And it's also to model sustainable agritourism, even if it's sustainable tourism even. And it just really matters for the region.
I love you do that every year. In fact, we steal it. You have that great sort of one pager of where markets are for each day of the week. And the first time I ever saw it, I was so impressed. There's literally all summer long a farmer's market every day of the week in the Adirondacks. And when I say I steal it, I give you guys full credit. But I just use the graphic. It's so handy. And then I personally like, as you mentioned, knowing, your grid that shows sort of what's fresh when, so that when I go to the farmer's market, I know what to look for. There's nothing worse than going to a farmer's market and trying to find zucchini when it's not zucchini season, or wanting to find rhubarb in August. It's really helpful, I think, to sort of have an idea ahead of time what you might find when you get there, so that you can sort of plan what you want to buy also. So it sounds like I'm super planful. I'm not that strategic all the time, but it's a great resource.
Don't be scared of buying out of season vegetables either, at least from farmers directly. I mean, there's so many innovations that the farmers are doing now, especially with greenhouses and just like the cover cropping initiatives that they're doing to preserve the soil. I mean, even just the cold storage for like carrots, you're not going to find carrots in May. It's okay to buy it still because people eat them year round. Most likely they're coming from cold storage kept right on the farm or at least close by. At least with local produce, you know where it's coming from. At the Keene Valley Farmers Market, I was working there last summer actually, and I was partnering with North Point Community Farm, and Wildwork Farm was there. Wildwork Farm is like 5 minutes away from the Keene Valley Farmers Market. They're based right there. So, you can go visit. I mean, like everything is right there. You can see the plants planted directly in soil. You can see the roots. You can see like everything you need to. Nothing about dirt is bad. It's really not. But it's good. It's the local food scene here has expanded a lot since Adirondack Harvest was first created. I mean, it was first created because there was a lack in the food scene and that people wanted more information about it. Even with the, coming from the loss of agricultural farmland and just being it born from Farmland Protection Plan, it goes way back. It goes to grassroots organizing. And I want to really get down to the root of it, to go back to your original question.
Yeah, that's great. It's funny. This is a little bit of a tangent, but growing up, we always went to the farm stand. We always did that. But what I noticed was I had an opportunity to be in Italy for a month back in a long time ago, not even in the 20s, back in the early 2000s. And we'd go into town every day and we would buy what we were going to eat for dinner that night. And there was a vegetable store, there was a meat market, there was a place where we got our dairy. And I remember the first time we went into the meat market, like the chickens were a lot scrawnier than what you would see in a supermarket. And they were also really yellow. And what I didn't realize is they're not pumped up with all kinds of chemicals and stuff. They're free range, and the skin is yellow because they're suntanned, because they've been outside in the fresh air. And I just remember the first time we made roast chicken, it was the most chickeny chicken I'd ever had in my entire life. It tasted so much better. The egg yolks were like this bright orange, and you could taste the difference. It wasn't just my imagination. It really got me hooked on trying to find things that are raised locally, raised in humane ways. And, sometimes, and we don't need to get into this either, organic isn't always seeing something labeled as organic, that isn't always a sign that it's that much better for you. But really being conscious and thinking more about where your food is coming from, I think is so important.
just to touch on that briefly, I have 2 points. The first I'll make just based on this last thing that you said is organic not really meaning much more. It is a marketing tactic. I will say that. It's a part of greenwashing 100%. However, there are certain certifications that farms up here do have that certifies them as organic because they're putting these processes to work and they're doing the work themselves so they can actually testify to that. And you can actually trust them when they say it's organic, that it's going to be organic and they're not going to be using pesticides on the food. The second point I have to make is about your Italy trip. Dylan from Adirondack Council, who is also a farmer, by the way, and not a lot of people know that, at least he has a background in agriculture. What we have here in the Adirondacks is like an old world European style of community where you can go buy fresh food every day to come home and cook right away. You don't have to stock up for 2 weeks in your fridge at a time. I mean, the old world authenticity of this place, and it's a very unique style of living. And I think that's what draws people to the Adirondacks. People making their own goods and providing their own services for other local community members or even community organizations. It resonates and you can feel it. I mean, it's just so powerful.
Yeah.
We celebrate the human experience here, the kind of authenticity that we have here in the Adirondacks. And part of that is the locally grown food. Everything is full circle here just because it's that much more nourishing and it's refreshing. It's refreshing even communally and community-wise. And trying to build community up here has been so easy for me just having moved here at the end of December 2024. There's not that much plastic pollution, and in the fake social media belief land, food is the grounding source of this, like it binds us together. You can't curate that experience like social media tends to make people believe. Community evolves naturally up here and it can't be artificially created or else it doesn't mean anything. And food is part of that. It brings people together. I mean, old family style dinners and such. Like have you ever heard of Sand River Community Farm?
Yes. Yep.
Yes. They do like a community dinner every Sunday after people like help out on the farm, and it's just full circle economy there. And it's a gift giving economy. You can't get much better than that with community building. You just can't. And all the farm food is grown right there, or other farms are donating to them. It's such a beautiful thing to have up here and to be witness to.
Yeah. You mentioned Facebook a couple of times, and I just want to also mention that farmers need to farm. So, it's great if they can have a website and it's great that you're helping them, but a lot of these places can be found on Facebook.
That is true.
So definitely, and I see that a lot of small businesses up here really rely on Facebook a lot to provide information. So it's worth seeking them out on Facebook, following them, because they'll tell you, we're picking strawberries this week, or we're having a special event at our farm. And you can get a lot of knowledge from, not that I want to line Mark Zuckerberg's pockets with gold any more than they already are, but it has a place here that does add value. So I just wanted to bring that up.
I'll also add that anybody who is a member of Adirondack Harvest, like the program itself, we will link their Instagram and their Facebook. If they have a YouTube channel, we'll put that on there too. So everything that you need to find members for is going to be listed on our website under that browse feature.
You've already mentioned so many things, but I just want to make sure we explicitly ask, what can our listeners do right now, especially as we're entering into the winter season. It's not officially winter, but there's been snow all over the Adirondacks the last week. But what can we do to make a difference for local farmers this winter?
Yeah, so a lot of farms actually thrive through word of mouth up here, especially because a lot of them are relying on Facebook and just direct traffic to the farm itself or their farm stands or their farmers market presence. So if you want to go beyond consuming, advocate for them. That's honestly the best way to do it. It's word of mouth up here in the Adirondack Park. Tell your friends and be a champion for small farms and food. Share your story. If you got amazing carrots this past September or October from this farm that is 5 minutes away from your house, tell your friends about it. I can almost guarantee that people are going to be curious and they're going to want to go try it for themselves too. If you have photos, share them, tag us. I'll share them right on our page.
That's awesome.
We also have newsletters and we tell people about upcoming events too that farmers are doing. And some of them include having talks and tours, like right of the farm itself, and sharing success stories. That's also one of the best things that you can do, which is those testimonials of the great products that you're having from them. It's great resources, and the farms, if they're grant writing or if they're applying to other programs to be supported by those programs, your testimonial can be used in the grant writing process, and that can mean the difference between an accepted application and a denied application. So elevate local food and buy local and testify by it, because that is the best thing that you can do. Again, I'll say it, buying local food, it's going to be an investment, especially if you're shopping local, because it's just the quality is just, it's so much better. I mean, we only have 40,000 people alone in Essex County. So the more that we can buy local, the better, just because it keeps the money in the area.
You know what? We always say the Adirondacks are 6 million acres. That's the size of New Jersey. It's bigger than New Jersey.
It's bigger than a lot of national parks in the U.S.
Yeah, but it's only, full-time residents are only about 100, a little less than 190,000. So it's a lot of land that a very few number of people are working. So it's really important. And, we said that about promoting. I mean, my nephew, Steve's son, always says, the camera eats first. We were always taking pictures of our food. What better way to, as you said, promote and share than doing a great post on Instagram or Facebook showing off the bounty of the region. That's awesome. One thing I want to make sure we talk about is the Adirondack Harvest Festival that happens every September. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So again, I'm going to start with just a little bit of history for everybody because it's been some sort of concept around this has been along since the start of Adirondack Harvest, the program. So the original Adirondack Harvest Festival was actually called the Great Adirondack Rutabaga Festival. And it was first iterated by Tom Both and his wife, who I mentioned before, who was an advocate for Adirondack Harvest from the beginning. They had a 5K race, a dog fetching rutabaga competition, chefs cooking different recipes around this vegetable, kids decorating it like a Mr. Potato Head. They had a king and queen rutabaga, and this ran from 2008 until 2013. The Adirondack Harvest Festival was started in 2015 by two women in Westport, Heidi and Nancy. And they wanted to start this festival to celebrate the farmers in the Champlain Valley just because there is such a big population there. Even today, we have the most number of young farmers and the most women farmers, which is very interesting. That does not get a lot of attention, and it deserves a lot more credit just because they are so hardworking and they deserve all the credit. Going back to the festival, it eventually did get confused with the Adirondack Harvest program just because it had been around since 2001. The festival started in 2015. They eventually turned it over to us, and the first CCE coordinated festival was in 2019. So actually pretty recent. So with that being said, CCE Essex actually took Adirondack Harvest over as a program officially in 2021. They've been kind of under the same umbrella since 2006, I believe. So, CCE Essex, located at the Essex County Fairgrounds, had always been a part of this festival planning process just because we were sharing the same office as the committee for festivals in Essex County. So we were always involved in some way. And in the past, iterations after iterations, there were 2 days, some years, a barbecue dinner on Friday because it's always on a Saturday. Sometimes they had a 2-day festival instead of just one. A long table dinner on Friday nights and such and such and such. There wasn't enough help to actually pull it all off, and that's why they kind of transferred it over to CCE Essex. Still today, Lori Davis is still the mastermind behind the Adirondack Harvest Festival. And since I joined in July, I actually had the opportunity to help out with that. She is a beast. She can plan everything. She's been doing it for so many years now, but she knows everything ins and outs of running this festival and actually the program itself. So big thanks to her. Thank you, Lori. We appreciate you at CCE Essex and especially Adirondack Harvest. So what is the Adirondack Harvest Festival? It is a way for people to celebrate local food at its finest. We bring in a lot of our members. You have to be a member of Adirondack Harvest to be incorporated into the event as a vendor. A lot of people don't know that. This past year was great. We had a lot of new people, a lot more members came this year. We had 3 bands and over 3,000 people came. I mean, we had such a great turnout. We advertised locally, like in the Adirondack Daily Enterprise, the Adirondack Explorer, digitally and print for both of those. We incorporate other local businesses like Studley Printing. I think they're out of Plattsburgh or Keysville. We try to do as much as we can as local as possible, just to keep the money in this economy up here. Yeah, I think that was a lot. I'm so sorry.
Right. It is. No, that's okay. That's great. It is a great event. It's free to attend. And in addition to, all the great farming stuff, there's fun stuff for kids to do. I think you guys have like hay rides or wagon rides and stuff like that.
We had Lucky Clover sleigh rides do a horse pulling wagon. And I mean, those horses are beautiful. You will see those on our website all day, every day. They're massive, massive horses, but they're gorgeous. Yeah, we do have kids activities all day that are free. The entire festival is free. We have musicians. We've got a libations tent. We have local food trucks. We had workshops for people to attend, which we keep at a pretty low price. We had a growing microgreens workshop, making seed paper. We had Chef Robert Dumas from Paul Smith's College, who now leads the culinary experience there for the students. He did a cooking class to make corn cakes from scratch and just hit it out of the park using only like local ingredients and locally bought food. We're going to be incorporating them a lot more this year too. Just as a little hint,
awesome.
Feel free to reach out with any questions. We're very excited. And then we also had the Making Seed Paper woman who ran the workshop. Her name's Kathy Linker. She's one of our Master Gardener volunteers. And then we also had Herb Longwear, who was also one of our newly added Master Gardener volunteers. And he was doing a growing wild rice in Essex County workshop. There's actually, I think, one strain of wild rice that has ever been found in Essex County, and he did his Master Gardener, I think it's called a dissertation or something, but it's essentially like a project that he has to do and study and have output for. And he goes out into parts of the park and of Essex County more specifically, and tried to grow this rice and did a workshop based on his findings, which was really cool. So we're incorporating all the different local elements that we can.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's a great event. And maybe not, sponsored or part of your program. I would just also say to listeners, in addition to the farmers market, it feels like every weekend, especially in growing season, there's some kind of festival going on. There's blueberry festival, rhubarb festival, apple festivals. So there's always great stuff. And I'm a big fan of the county fairs. So you mentioned that the Adirondack Harvest Festival is on the Essex County Fairgrounds. Those fairgrounds have been around for almost 200 years, and that's a wonderful thing. And it's sort of, I always thought of the county fair as a kid as the place where you could go on the rides and the midway and all that stuff. But it's really fun to go and see, the 4-H stuff, what people are growing, the butter cow, if they have one. It's always a really great time, and again, supports the local community. So that's great.
Bella, going back to the mailbag, Janie and I went over, a lot of times we get questions from tourists. People are up, second homeowners. How do you help them discover and support local producers?
I mean, it's our website. It's super visible. The SEO, the search engine optimization for those non-marketing professionals, is super healthy, and we're showing up in all the right searches. I mean, we've optimized for farmers markets, we've optimized for farms and agriculture and everything like that, agritourism maybe even. And we produce those local food guides, which are available almost everywhere. I mean, we dish them out like it's candy. We try to get people to buy as local as possibly, and that includes second home ownership. Just like Jane was saying, it's quite a difference between the full-time residents and the second home ownerships. I mean, there's a housing crisis. There's a food desert and a housing crisis. So expenses are very high for full-time residents. So it's a miracle if people can stay up here long-term. Just in Lake Placid alone, you can't even live downtown without paying like $2,000 a month in rent alone. That's not even including utilities. And buying a house, forget about it. Like even Saranac Lake, it's impossible because as soon as something affordable is listed, it's immediately taken off because someone's already put in an offer for it and they got accepted. It's just the way that it is. So by buying local, we're supporting the economy, creating more jobs, and we're keeping the revenue here versus like taking it elsewhere. A lot of the home ownership up here is second homeowners who can afford that. They're coming up from New York City, New Jersey, maybe even Connecticut, depending on where they're from and their history with the Adirondack Park. And we don't just promote the Harvest Festival. We promote everything as equal as we can. We promote the farmers markets in local magazines. And for example, the Explorer goes all the way down to Rochester, even in Vermont. I mean, we're constantly marketing for these farmers markets to get food in mouths. And we're taking up local ad space as much as we can, as much as our budget allows for. Social media is a big part of that. We're trying to grow our social media presence coming in 2026. Our blog is a direct source of information. We feature different members all the time, and we tell consumers exactly what farmers are doing with their local food and where to buy it. Again, like, we have the most comprehensive resource in the North Country for this kind of thing. We have the wholesale directory for institutions and schools and hospitals to reach farmers directly to get that food in. It just depends on if they have a culinary kitchen set up or not. And a lot of ways to do this for consumers is, like, go on Google Maps, find a local grocery store, like go to Green Goddess, go to Norrie's. Norrie's is great.
Norrie's is in Lake Placid, right?
Norrie's is in Saranac Lake. Green Goddess is in Lake Placid.
Thank you.
Yep. Both are great. The Potsdam Food Co-op is great. The Thai Food Co-op is great. Like, any food cooperative is going to directly assist the employees. If it's employee ownership, it's going to affect local people buying into the food co-op if that's the way that the co-op decided to run it. It's just so important to buy local as much as possible, and that's including tourism. And part of that is also having correct communication with restaurants and establishments to make sure that people know where their food is coming from. One very direct example of this is Big Slide Brewery in Lake Placid. They are a Harvest member, and the owners have been really great in continuing that with the other establishments that they've opened. They've got a map, like, right in the front section of the brewery that shows exactly which farms they've used in the past. And right on the menu, it says, like, which ingredients are from which farm or local producer. It's wonderful of them to do that. And I'd love for other restaurants and establishments to do that in the future when they become Adirondack Harvest members.
Well, this has been just such a great education. Thank you so much, Bella. And listener, I hope you're taking a lot away from this. I definitely encourage you to go to AdirondackHarvest.com. It's easy to find the information. It's well laid out and easy to navigate. So, and there's a ton of great stuff there. So highly encourage that. So Bella, before we release you into the wild, we like to ask every guest who comes on ADK Talks to tell us about their favorite place in the Adirondacks. And you've mentioned so many great farms and stuff, but, you know, as you said, you know, you've moved to Lake Placid recently, so welcome to the ADK. But is there something that you've discovered that is your, like, special favorite place? And it can be anything. It can be a hike, a trail, an ice cream stand, a theater. We've had all kinds of different responses from our guests, but, you know, what do you really love? What's one? And I'm sure it's going to be, it's always hard for people to say just one. So if you have two, that's okay too. But what's your hidden gem that you can share with our listeners?
I mean, you know me so well already, Jane. I can't pick just one. I don't think I'm not even a true Adirondacker yet, but if I'm trying to get there, I've got to mention the leave no trace principle. I'm a big advocate for the outdoor space and for agritourism, and that includes leave no trace. And part of that means that I can't actually give you a response because some of my favorite places cannot be geotagged because they're backcountry. So I think I have to do my due diligence here and just ask people to go check out the leave no trace principles and then go recreate. I'm a big advocate for that because it puts a lot of strain on our trail system if people don't follow these principles. I mean, most common one that people don't know is, like, to walk through the mud. Don't expand past the mud lines. Walk through it. That being said, if you want a real answer, I grew up going to Raquette Lake, more specifically Golden Beach Campground, as a kid because my dad's mom's side of the family would go during their childhoods. So they've been going for over 70 years easily. Raquette Lake is the biggest natural lake in the Adirondack Park, and it's very special. You don't get much finer water quality than that. I mean, the swimming itself is just great. The town of Inlet holds a special place in my heart. I do love that town just because it's so quirky, it's quaint, and small. All the local businesses there work collaboratively too. It's really nice. My favorite hike is actually in Keene Valley, or close to it. It's Rooster Combe. I do need to mention that like High Peaks visitor, like the trail maintenance alone is just incredible. And the Adirondack Mountain Club is doing really great work there. But recreate responsibly. Don't overuse the trails. Use proper hiking equipment. And in the wintertime and shoulder season, pack the gear that you need. Our forest rangers are already doing too much for tourism. So
it's so funny that you bring that up, because today the reader mailbag episode that we keep mentioning is dropping. And one of the questions we answered that we got from either a listener or a reader of the website or newsletter was, what does leave no trace mean? And we went through all of the principles, and, it's stay on the path. The ecosystem is fragile. Don't change stuff. Don't dig a new trench. Don't knock down a tree. Don't carve your initials into the lean-to.
Don't carve your initials into trees.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's common sense stuff, but people do some really dumb stuff. So I'm really glad you mentioned that. And Raquette Lake has come up, specifically the Raquette Lake Navigation Company that does these really fun boat tours. And I love that you dropped that piece of trivia. Raquette Lake has the largest shoreline of any lake in the Adirondacks. So if you look at it on a map, it doesn't look like Lake George or Lake Champlain, but the shoreline, it makes it the largest lake in terms of shoreline in the Adirondacks. So we love a good fact.
It's relatively untouched too, so it's very nice to be able to paddle there. It can be quite quiet too if you go on the right weekend. I don't suggest 4th of July weekend. It's going to be wicked busy. Everyone goes there. It's not going to be as busy as Lake George, but leave no trace principles. It's one of my favorite places for sure, but the other ones I'm not going to mention because I'm not geotagging them.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. You gave us some great examples there, so appreciate that. Bella, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure having you on the podcast. I will probably be inviting you back. Not even probably. We'd love to have you back.
I'd love to come back.
It's funny because the times when we want to talk to certain guests are often the times when they're busiest. So I'm sure summer's crazy for you.
It's mostly September is going to be the busiest, especially around the Harvest Festival, because we're busy planning. We're busy. The CC Essex office is actually the one setting up and breaking down a lot of those things. So we have quite a small office. So if people want to get involved, they can email me. It's info@adirondackharvest.com. We take volunteers for several days leading up to the festival, and even sometimes a couple days after. I mean, we need so much help, and it's so great for our friends and family to come help, but we need the public's support behind it too. We want to be able to do it without our volunteership. And Lori.
That's great. Bella, have a great week, and we look forward to connecting with you again soon and eating locally and discovering more farms and more producers in the Adirondacks.
Yeah, thank you. And for the listeners, please follow us on Facebook, Instagram. Our festival pages also are on Facebook and Instagram. And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have a lot of maker videos on there, and it goes into depth about like what each member actually does on the farm, and it's raw footage. I mean, it's an incredible thing to watch. If you're just at home and you're doing some chores, just put it on. It's great. Very informative. And then we also have our email newsletter. So I would really appreciate the listeners if they could subscribe to some of those. That'd be great.
Awesome.
But thank you so much for having me. This has been such a pleasure, and my inbox is always open. Please reach out and let me know if you guys need anything, and I would love to come back on the podcast.
Okay, great.
Awesome.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Thank you.
You know, I say this every time, and listener, I'm sure you're sick of hearing it, but that was a really good episode. That was a lot of fun. Huge thank you to Bella and the friends at Adirondack Harvest for joining us and keeping Adirondack food alive in every season.
A lot of information.
Yeah.
We'll have her back, I hope.
I hope so.
If you missed our listener mailbag episode, go back and give it a listen. Send us your own questions or suggestions. You just might hear them on a future show. And remember, you can send those questions to info@adktaste.com.
Yeah, I loved, that she brought up leave no trace, because that's one of the questions that we were asked and we talk about on that episode. And also, don't forget, listener, check out episode 27 with Dan Rivera from Triple Green Jade Farm. It pairs perfectly with this conversation and really interesting. If you're thinking about making a major life pivot and getting into farming, Dan can drop some knowledge on you. So definitely do that. And, I strongly urge you to follow Adirondack Harvest online. Go to their website, adirondackharvest.com, and always, find more places and events and things that you can do to support local farmers. It's a good idea, and it tastes good too. So definitely make that happen. Thanks again for tuning into 80K Taste. If you enjoyed today's conversation with Adirondack Harvest, please take a moment to rate and review us on your favorite podcast platform. It helps others discover not only our show, but also the farmers, makers, and the hidden flavors that make the Adirondack Park so special. And for more exclusive Adirondack content, event listings, travel inspiration, take a visit on over at 80ktaste.com, and be sure to sign up for our newsletter so you never miss an update. So until next time, keep exploring and supporting the people who grow the Adirondacks one season at a time. Take care. Bye-bye.